So neocons came to power, and they were very, very interested in fact, improving and extending US World Project to globalize Monroe Doctrine. Neocons have two important publications. One of them is called Weekly Standard, and the second one is National Review. National Review is monthly. If you read these periodicals, you will see that they divide the world into 10 major strategic territories. Number one is the Middle East. Why Middle East is number one? For at least three important reasons. Number one, Middle East, as they call it either Great Middle East or New Middle East. It covers many, many areas of old, ancient Middle Eastern states, plus countries either bordering or very close to the Middle East. Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and the countries of Central Asia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and sometimes even Bangladesh are considered part of this whole New Middle East. So they wanted to take over this Great Middle East because this Great Middle East has 65 to 70% of world oil and 85 to 90% of world natural gas. The second factor is the geographic location of Greater Middle East. Middle East, if you look at the map, you will see it connects three important continents of the world: Asia, Africa, and Europe. And in fact, if you look at the world map, you will see that the city of Tehran and surrounding part of Tehran has the same distance from Paris to Shanghai and to Johannesburg in South Africa. So that brings us to a main topic, that why US invaded Iraq. US invaded Iraq not because Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Today, all the documents, including whatever comes out of State Department and Defense Department, show us that Iraqis had no weapons of mass destruction. US didn't invade Iraq because Saddam Hussein and other Iraqi leaders had contact with Al-Qaeda. We know that was not the case. After US invaded Iraq, about 2 years after invasion, they invaded at the beginning of the spring of 2003, and by 2005, President George Bush made a speech for first time saying that we did not invade Iraq because of its oil, or because of weapons of mass destruction, or because of Al-Qaeda. We invaded Iraq to establish what? Democracy in Iraq. But democracy is a process. No country has exported democracy. You can export any commodity, but not democracy, not social justice, not secularism, and not modernity. All of them are byproduct of metabolism of every society. That brings us down to one fact, that United States invaded Iraq in order to hegemonize and establish oil hegemony. But why? Because whoever, any power, controls oil in the Middle East will be able to control Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and later on, Russia, at least contain Russia, and finally, ultimately, contain China. That is very, very possible. But without hegemony, oil hegemony in the Middle East, it is impossible for US project to move forward to the second step. Impossible. And at this point, US has not been able, after invasion of those two countries, Afghanistan and Iraq, to maintain, in fact, anything resembling oil hegemony. At this point, US is in quagmire. US is in one of the most profoundly important states of its history. United States is in quagmire in Iraq, cannot pull itself out. At the same time, at home, in the US, United States is encountering greater aspects of what you call economic crisis, including recession. So that brings me to one important question, which is part of this topic that we would like to discuss. Who benefits the war? Possible invasion of Iran, or probable likelihood of invasion of Iran by the United States. Why? Why US will invade Iran? What could be the reason? A lot of scholars, they will say, US will never invade Iran. Why? Because US is in quagmire in Iraq. But that is not the case. Incidentally, one factor that can make United States to invade Iran is US failure in Iraq. Why? Because US is extending an empire of chaos. Neocons believe that chaos can accumulate capital the way exploitation of workers can. Neocons have no exit strategy. We always say, what is your exit strategy? You went to Iraq. How are you coming out? That's irrelevant because they have no purpose, no aim to return, to come back. History shows that United States, since Second World War, established more than 69 military bases throughout the world. Now there are 200, from 69 to 200. Show me one country that US voluntarily did withdraw and they dismantled their military bases. They never did. United States' most important prisons, political prisons, are not in the United States. They are in those bases. We have heard about Abu Ghraib. We have heard about Guantanamo. There are only 2 of those 69 major political prisoners. They daily practice rendition, daily practice kidnapping, and sending prisoners from one international airport to another country's international airport for torture.